I think we discussed last time. Those who are new, probably they have missed out. In UPSC Mains, you are not just writing answers. It is, you are designing an experience for the examiner's eyes and mind, right? Content is good, structure is good, everything is good. But if it is haphazard, if it is not presented well, not beautifully, presented well, then you are alienating the examiner, right? So you are designing an experience for the examiner's eyes and mind. Presentation, language and visual decides whether your hard work gets noticed. You have done everything. Your content is ready. You have prepared those short notes. In that 3 hours, what matters is this, that you have practiced and you know how to communicate that content. Your structure and presentation, therefore, are key. Okay? Okay. First, we'll come to the presentation part. Now, you have to understand something, that presentation does not here means giving map or giving a diagram, right? Presentation means that how your script will look. So, when an examiner, after checking, let's say 200 copies, comes to your script, at the last script, at the end of the day, and then finds the content scattered and haphazard and as if like, a merry crow dancing across your script, what happens is that even if you have written very good content, the problem will be that he will be disinterested. You will be alienating the examiner. So presentation means that the moment he or she flips through the page, the content that you have, the structure that you have, it will be very starkly visible. Like it will be brilliantly visible. So obviously you know this part, the IBC part, intro, body, conclusion. We have talked about it. So organize the answer logically, right? So this part though has been following through ages. Now, there's a reason why I have written this. The reason is this. Most of the time, because of paucity of time, what happens is this conclusion is missed. I guess you have felt when you are writing answers that we sacrifice conclusion. Particularly this happens where? In ethics paper, where you have to fight against the tide of time. It happens during ethics paper that you miss conclusion, be it in case study or in those 13 questions. And the moment you miss conclusion or you have not given an adequate intro, right? For giving intro and conclusion, you will not get marks. But surely, if you don't give conclusion and a very inadequate intro, marks will be deducted. Marks will be deducted. Now, can you tell me why? Why marks will be deducted if you are not giving conclusion and intro? Format, yes. Format. This is a format, yes. Anybody? Like why it is important that intro and conclusion have to be given? Start or end, yes.
Intro explains to the examiner that we have understood the demand of the question.
Okay.
Conclusion gives the idea to the examiner that I have a positive mindset of the way to cover it.
This is one aspect of intro and conclusion. That is true. That is true. Any other understanding of why intro and I'll tell you. The reason this is a classical format method of writing answers. This is not something that has been invented by UPSC. If you follow university answers, how many are from humanities background here? Humanities. You, what is your subject? Political science. Okay. So when you wrote answers, political science answers, there were any time where you did not give an intro and conclusion? You had to give intro and conclusion because that is a classical method, right? It's a classical format that intro, body and conclusion has to be given, right? Okay. Now, the second thing is this, with regards to answer format, we have to understand that this particular aspect, heading and subheadings, has to be given to your content, right? And I think that you have seen toppers copy, right? So they divide their content into headings and subheadings. So the moment you do this, the moment you divide your content into headings and subheadings, it gives clarity. It breaks down the content into digestible parts, right? And the moment examiner is checking your copy, the moment you give a heading, let's say this question, okay, let's say this question, explain the role of millets for ensuring health and nutritional security. So the moment I divide it into this part, millets ensure health security, first part, and then nutritional security. So you are clearly giving the message that I have understood the question and I am giving the content of the question in an organized manner. I have given here 4 dimensions. Here I have given 4 dimensions, and what I have added here, they have not asked for initiatives. But what I have done is that I have given initiatives over here just to value add my answer. Okay? Because I can give initiative because it's about millets. And for the last 2 to 3 years, some form of initiatives have been coming, right? So this is the value addition wala part, right? You're getting me? So that's the reason why heading and subheadings are critical, right? It helps to break the content. Yes. By giving this heading. Yeah, this is a very good question. So Modit is asking ki the moment I give this initiative, am I not breaching the content boundary of 150 words? Could be you are breaching, but the thing is that if you can manage time, you can give initiatives. That will be evaluated. Yes, Ayush. Not an issue. Absolutely no issue. The people who say that you have to like start from here, end here. So I have an example also where you meet the demand of the question in, let's say, 1 page and 3/4 of a page. Baki kyun likhna hai? Not necessary. You don't have to fill content just for the sake of filling it. Our goal is what? Our goal is to meet the demand of the question. And if you do it in 1 page and 3/4 of a page, well and good. Okay? Okay. Second is numbering and underlining plus boxes. Now, this is also a part of presentation. Now, many students ask, so how many of you have questions here? Ki, is it better to number or give bullet points or arrows? You have question. Like, how many of you think that bullet points would be better or arrows would be better? Numbering would be better. And what is the reason?
Because numbering gives the quantifying.
Exactly. Numbering quantifies your content. Okay. So this is the issue that I was facing last day. The moment you number your content, it quantifies your content. So the question is what? The question is, explain the role of millets for ensuring health and nutritional security. What is the demand of the question? The demand is very simple. You have to explain the role of millets in ensuring health and nutrition. So you can divide the answer into 2 parts. The moment you use this numbering, right? This numbering, and again here, nutritional security. What you are doing is you are quantifying. So the examiner can see that you have given 4 dimensions over here. You have given 4 dimensions over here, right? नहीं तो क्या होगा कि अगर आप ऐसे एरो देते, like you will see many of them do this, or bullets. ये तो मत ही करो, like this is तो like something which is very irritating. ठीक है? What happens that you are not quantifying actually. ठीक है? So again, it's better to quantify your content, right? Good. So जैसे यहाँ पर देखिए initiatives, right? This is presented in what format? It is presented in infographic form, like hub and spoke model, right? This is your hub and spoke model. spoke model. Here I have not given number. It's not necessary because I have just have to list 3-4 points over here, right? And cumulatively, the question that I think Ayush asked, or Mudit asked, like, will we not exceed the word limit? Now, if you see maximum here, there are 30 to 35 words, right? Yes. You can do that, absolutely. But here the conclusion will be, like, if you're giving initiative in the conclusion, it's better to give an overall very value-added conclusion. So what conclusion is here? Millets are strategic nutritional एक मिनट, ठीक है? So it's a strategic crop. You have to agree. Why it's a strategic crop? Anybody?
38% of
Right. So it's a strategic crop. The reason is that it's affordable, climate smart, micronutrient rich, which is crucial to reversing India's persistent undernutrition. Right. The moment you give this conclusion, that is the reason why Prime Minister Modi was elevating millet, right? That it's not only nutritional, it's affordable, climate smart, and obviously, like you have those micronutrients which are important, right? Which helps in reversing India's persistent undernutrition. Major benefits, because I understand your point, but here the focus is on like bringing this aspect of millet, strategic nutrition, right? So in body, we are again, obviously this part is mentioned in the body, that is understood. But in body, the dimension of, let's say, strategic part, the health part, nutritional part, right? So it is very specific. For example, in this case, millets helps in our ensuring health security. How it does? By fighting diabetes. Why it fights diabetes? Because it has low glycemic index, which again helps blood sugar, right? Again, millets helps, like how it improves our health security? By preventing anemia. Because why? Iron and calcium, it aids hemoglobin improvement, right? So this is on a very specific level. Yes.
So when we are giving the points, is it necessary to give the points in the manner heading and then by a statement, or directly I can make the statement and then an example? Like in this answer, he's giving the heading and then a statement followed by that.
So you are mentioning that instead of this, I'll come to here. You can do, and I'll show you. We have done that also. So basically, this is the heading, this is the subheading, right? This structures your answer much better. So in order to, yes. You can do that. That permutation combination you can do, but the point here is that the structure has to be made. The structure has to be maintained in this one. You can completely do away with it. You just mention this, right? And incorporate diabetes and heart health here, right? You can do that. That can also be done. So, look, both the points are taken. So if you again subdivide or give subheading, right, it is it looks better, but time bhi wahan par bach ja raha hai. You're reducing like around 9-10 words. Cumulatively, you're reducing around 20 words, which can be again help you to write initiatives. Okay? So there are pros and cons. So again, this comes with practice. Kahan par dena hai, kahan par nahi dena hai. So I'll show you other answers where I have not given.
So, keywords. Subheading is not a keyword. Okay.
Subheading can be a keyword. I'll come to the keyword wala section later. Language mein jab aayenge, I'll come to the keyword wala section later. But this is a good question. Okay? So shall we move on to the next section? Okay. Okay. Now numbering, underlining and boxes, this part to you know, underlining and boxes. Abhi, my understanding is that please do not box every content. ठीक है, आप देखोगे कि like if you see many copies, they're boxing, box only the headings, बाकी underline कीजिए, right? हाँ, again keywords, facts, examples, they should stand out. For example, here, if you see, so prevents anemia. So the keywords, for example, here पर data I have underlined, right? Women aged 15 to 49 are anemic. Data I have underlined, right? So this should like stand out. So the examiner can see the underline. Basically, it is actually said कि your answer can be read and understood and deciphered and marks can be given based only on the underlined parts. ठीक है? पूरा दे देते हो. हाँ, वो that I understand that is an issue. That is an issue. But what happens is this: the more you refine your content, the more you practice, you will understand which to underline and which not to underline. Right? This will come with practice. Right? But this, I completely agree. This happens. ठीक है? Okay. It's easier to clear mains than to navigate this board. Okay. This is an important point. Now, usually people don't consciously do this, but we have to do this. Like we must do this. Prioritizing high value content first. Now, this has to be done. In this answer, if I'm talking about billets and if I'm talking about health, I have to first mention about glycemic index wala point. Right? Blood sugar, this one. And I have to talk about this. ये नीचे नहीं आना चाहिए. You're getting me? So when again the examiner, these are very small things. Very probably in the eye it will be insignificant. But if you understand when an examiner is looking at your copy in 20-25 minutes and has to decipher whether you're mains worthy or not, you have to tick each and every parameters, including this parameter, that important topic or important dimension has to be placed पहले. ठीक है? जैसे similarly in this case, combat nutritional security, right? So what comes to your mind when it is nutritional security? What aspect comes to your mind? Immediately combat child stunting and wasting, because nutrition is related to this, right? And it has to be given at the top. ठीक है? Clear? Okay. Chalo, we'll move on to the next one.
Sir, suppose if I want to give a map India, like locating states like जहाँ ज़्यादा production हो रहा है या overall. So उसके लिए location कहाँ होनी चाहिए दोनों places में से?
That I'll come. वो location of जो map है ना, visual representation. That will be the third part. Very good question. That is very important. But Shalu, you have asked a very good question. The reason is arbitrarily giving map would not cut the ice. Placing the map, placing the diagram, placing the infographic is also important. ठीक है? यहाँ पर भी आप देख लीजिए the mistakes. What यहाँ पर गलती किया हुआ है? I should have underlined this part. Sorry. ये वाला, ठीक है? This part. The visual confrontation that you know your content. Visual confirmation that you know your content. ठीक है? Now somebody asked कि subheading देना चाहिए. इसमें है subheading? नहीं है. Why? चाहिए? जरूरत है? No need. Because mitigation measure they have asked. ठीक है? I just directly will come to the content. क्या करना है? Consent required. So let me read the question. Industrial pollution of river water is a significant environmental issue in India. Right? This is the context. Discuss the various mitigation measures. So this is the first demand. To deal with this problem and also government initiatives in this regard. Right? two demands are there. One is various mitigation measures and initiatives. ठीक है, 10 marker है. Very simple question. Now, when we are mentioning mitigation measures, I know some of the questions will be कि sir ये mitigation measures और government initiative में difference क्या है? I'll tell you. I'll come to that part later. Right. So mitigation measures will directly come to the content. What are the mitigation measures? Consent required under Water Act. I have underlined for efficient discharge. ठीक है. Common effluent treatment plants, CETPs, right? Installation of OECMs, real-time monitoring system, for real-time monitoring system, right? Zero liquid discharge. So here there are no subheadings of that sort. Directly I'm coming to the content, right? And what I'm doing, I'm underlining those important terms, right? Clear? Similarly, when government initiatives I'm mentioning, again, National Water Quality Monitoring Program. ठीक है? I've just mentioned the initiative, the scheme, and then monitors over 622 locations. But that's it. ठीक है? Amrut. You have heard about Amrut? What is Amrut? Full form नहीं चाहिए. मुझे बताइए अमृत क्या है? Like what is the objective of? Yes, like objectives are all these, right? हाँ. Then नमामि गंगे प्रोग्राम. Now you will say कि सर ये तो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है, ये ऊपर होना चाहिए. What is the question? Industrial pollution of river. Had it been Ganga, then this could have been come here. Got? So it is overall river. Hence we are coming here. ठीक है? Then other initiatives में National River Conservation Program, National Lake Conservation Program, we have mentioned. Now I'll tell you why mitigation measures. What is the difference between mitigation measures and government initiatives? Can anybody tell me what is the difference between this? Like why ऐसे तो लग ही रहा है कि भाई ये भी तो government initiatives ही लग रहा है. Yes.
Mitigation is basically prevention. Initiatives are for correcting something. It's more like adaptation.
Okay, ठीक है. Any other point of view? So mitigation measure is a policy measure, right? Categorical policy measure to prevent industrial water pollution of river, right? Mitigation. So here you have to take consent under Water Act 74. This Water Act of 74, right? So this is an initiative, passing the legislation. But what is the measure that is mentioned within the legislation? It is you have to take consent. ठीक है? जैसे कॉमन एफ्लुएंट ट्रीटमेंट प्लांट्स, ये नमामि गंगे के अंदर भी आ रहा है. इट कम्स अंडर NG, राइट? बट this plant is a specific measure to stop pollution, river pollution, right? So initiative is a broader umbrella, and within that initiative, within that legislation, within that policy, within that scheme, specific measures जो होते हैं, mitigation measures हो गया, adaptation measures हो गया, ठीक है? So it comes within those policy schemes, initiatives. It is specific. This is generic, like overall. Clear? Okay. ठीक है, चलो, we'll move on to the next. We'll come to the language wala part. Now, when it comes to UPSC and answer writing language, this is the most challenging part with most, because first of all, you don't know how to frame the content. Language में issue आता है, ठीक है? People say कि sir, my English is not good. I'm a literature student, right? English does not play any role. It plays some role, obviously, but it does not play a major role. Second is that some people say that like, sir, we have to be very good in English. Like you have to write flowery English. कुछ नहीं होता है वैसे. Like you write flowery English, you will get marks like flowers, right? You will not get marks. the understanding of or the language that you have to use to write content is very simple. It has to be short, precise. Okay? It has to be short and precise. Short means that it should not be a lengthy sentence. You're not writing an epic. Precise means that whatever they have asked, you have to write that. Right? So I think somebody asked here keywords, right? So keywords will be those. So can anybody tell me what is a keyword? How do you define a keyword? Good, very good. Strategic autonomy. The moment you use strategic autonomy, you are communicating clearly that what does strategic autonomy with regards to, let's say, India, how India practices strategic autonomy. You are communicating that. Okay. Any other understanding, keywords, what do you mean by keywords?
Reflect the core.
Reflects the core, yes. Instead of writing a lengthy sentence, you just mention that particular keyword. The best definition of keyword would be, it's a concept of common understanding. If I mention strategic autonomy, it will be understood by everybody. It's not your personal language that has been used in newspaper, that has been used in PIB, right? समझ रहे हो? So keywords means that when toppers say na ki list all the important keywords and use it in your answer. That means what? You're making the content visible. That the examiner is saying ki acha, this student is well aware of what is happening. He knows the language of the current affairs, right? That is important. So what is a dimension? First I'll come. So dimension is nothing but your argument and example. I think I have told some. So basically this is an argument. This is an argument, right? And this is the moment you give an example to validate this argument, it becomes a dimension. And you will see toppers follow this process. They give a dimension and then they give a argument and then they give a example. Argument, example. So we have to practice this. Now, obvious question is that can we do it with every question? It's not always possible. It's not always possible. And सिर्फ examples ही नहीं देना होता है. We can give data also. We can give facts also. Right? So, point here is this, that when we're giving a dimension, it will comprise an argument and an example. If example is missing, right? They will not penalize you for that. But one important thing is that your argument cannot be missed. Your argument आपको देना ही है. Examples are secondary. Arguments are primary. So, and particularly in ethics answers, those questions which the script which ranges from 85, 90, 95, 100. The problem with that kind of answer script is that they have primarily given examples. UPSC is not seeking, particularly in case of ethics, UPSC is not seeking for examples. They are asking you to use your cognitive ability to frame arguments and then validate those arguments with what? Validate it with examples. Examples, so if I'm saying, give an example of persuasion, you can immediately come with 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 examples of persuasion. But if I ask you, what is the difference between persuasion and coercion, and explain me through argument, not example. Persuasion or coercion का difference क्या है? Explain me through argument, not example. Then it will be a problem because that's a conceptual understanding. ठीक है? चलो. ठीक है? So language should be short, precise sentences. Dimensions are argument points which has to be validated by example, data, case study, right? And value addition you have to do through these things: quotes, data, constitutional provisions, committee reports, and examples. Particularly in case of your second and third paper. And in third paper, if you are not using these things, you will not get marks. people who are getting marks in 90s, it's not that they're performing badly. Like I've told somebody, 90s is a very good marks. 90s में तभी marks आपको मिलेंगे when you're using these things, committee report, data, examples. ठीक है, you have to use these things, right? So language is again a part of how your script should look. So it should be clearly and simply communicated. You have to value add through this and try to not make grammatical mistakes, right? Because if you maintain this, अगर आप short and precise sentences लिख रहे हो, then what happens invariably, you will reduce this. You agree, right? ज़्यादा लिखोगे तो you will commit more errors. If you write less, be short, precise, and that we have to practice. इसका एक process होता है कि like use verbs. ठीक है? Like when you start answer writing, I'll tell you how to do it. Use verbs in your dimensions. ठीक है? It's a very easy way to frame very short sentences. ठीक है? Okay. So grammar, spelling, please don't make. एक तो I have seen common. What's the spelling of violet? So you cannot even imagine the number of times I have seen this spelling. ठीक है, it's not उतना important, but we will not try to make these mistakes. ठीक है, क्या होता है, it's kind of an errand. ठीक है, अरे अच्छा लिख रहे हो, don't make these mistakes. ठीक है, अच्छा, this is very important. When we are writing these dimensions, because you are being short and precise, does not mean that we will be ambiguous. Short का मतलब ambiguity नहीं है. This is your language command when you are writing content. Short means that you have to be precise, not ambiguous. ठीक है, and that will only come with practice. Ambiguous का मतलब क्या है कि you have given a heading. You have given a heading, right? And the subheading that or the content below does not match the heading that you have given. So this is a form of ambiguity. Okay? So you have to be very careful over there. I'll give you an example also ki how not to be ambiguous, right? Till here clear?
You have to explain it. When we have to explain it, when we have to get it.
Very good question. So society, ethics, then social justice, these requires a little lengthy sentences. थोड़ा argument ज़्यादा होगा. Economy, history, ठीक है, it requires precise. Geography, depending on what answers you are writing. Conceptual answers है. Geography में I have already told factors, mechanism, ठीक है. These are the things. Like when you are explaining mechanism, you cannot write like 2-3 words में. You have to explain the mechanism. ठीक है. So that judgment call will only come the more you practice, the more you get feedback. ठीक है. But very good question. कि when like कहाँ पर मुझे lengthy लिखना है, where I have to be short. Society में you can't write short. Why? Society के answers has to have element of what? Society के answers has to have element of cause and effect. Argument. Ethics you can't write short. So tomorrow's session will be on ethics. I will show you कि like there will be some questions where you can write short. But majority you have to give argument. जहाँ पर आपको you have to write proper sentences. ठीक है? तो जैसे history तो like keywords. I always say that first paper is the easiest because in 2 sections you have to write, you can write only through keywords, history and geography. Society में नहीं होगा. ठीक है? चलो.
जब मैं लिखता हूँ तो मुझे पता नहीं चलता, लग रहा है कि सब सही लिख रहा हूँ. मैं जब बाद में पढ़ता हूँ तो मुझे लगता है कि कहीं आर नहीं लिखा हूँ, या फिर किसी में स्पेलिंग मिस्टेक.
So good question. So like those avoidable grammatical mistakes are that first of all, like we have to maintain brevity. We'll write very briefly. कम लिखोगे, कम grammatical mistakes होएगा. ठीक है? And second is this with like this will only come with writing practice. the more you write. And telling you, there are students whom I have mentored, they found it difficult to write even a single sentence without grammatical mistakes. But what happened was that their content improved so well, right? Unka content itna acha ho gaya tha, they value added, they wrote, right? So basically what they were doing is that they were not venturing into those areas jahan par wo grammatical mistakes karenge. So if somebody make grammatical mistakes, or not grammatical mistakes, like spelling mistakes or sentence framing mein galti ho raha hai, right? So they will find an easy way out to mitigate that disaster. And there is an easy way out, trust me. मुझे
ऐसा लगता है कि मैं इसलिए आर्गुमेंट को बड़ा कर रहा हूं क्योंकि सामने वालों को थोड़ा
good. Yes. Like they, so the thing is this, that they have been checking 200, 2000, 3000 copies. So they don't want you to explain what you understand. They want you to know that whether you're know the content, you know the demand of the question, right? So indicative, now this is very important. Indicative content is important, not descriptive content. Example is this. So this is the heading. यहाँ पर क्या लिखा हुआ है? Mitigating measures, right? What do I write here? Zero liquid discharge. Everybody has heard about zero liquid discharge, ZLD. ठीक है? Everybody has heard about it. And then example, Tamil Nadu mandated ZLD implementation. मतलब ये तो state का नाम है. 1, 2, 3. 3 words. Your dimension is done. ठीक है? Installations of OECMs. ये installations of OECMs real-time monitoring system. You're getting me? So try to write in this keyword format. You will not make any grammatical mistakes. कहाँ में spelling mistake हो सकता है, but ठीक है, वो भी नहीं होगा, because the more you read, more you practice, the more you write those keywords, गलती नहीं होगा. इसमें क्या गलती होगा आपका? What mistakes will you make? Installations का शायद with double L के बदले में आप single L लिखोगे. ठीक है, not an issue. ठीक है, you're not writing a language test. ठीक है, आगे बढ़ते हैं. चलो. Now, ठीक है. So again, so I was talking about dimensions comprises of argument and examples. ठीक है. Now let's see the question. What is the status of digitalization in the Indian economy? Examine the problem faced and suggest improvement. ठीक है. Very simple question. कौन सा पेपर की है? Which paper? Paper 3. GS3. Yes, absolutely. Now this paper, and this should be your ideal GS3 answer. Why? अब देखो, like it's content rich, it's data, facts, examples rich. So I start with India's digital economy contributed 11.74%. You might not know, like remember this specific, like around 11 to 12%. That is also like valid. अभी ये 11 to 12% should not be 20%. ठीक है? So this much aberration can happen like 0.5%, 0.6%, but it should not be like 10-15%. Then to like you are questioning the integrity of your content, right? So what is the status of digitalization? The moment I see this, I have to give 4 or 5 points. इसमें 4 point है. Current status and achievements. I have given कि India ranks 3rd globally. Underline this 3rd globally in economic digitalization, right? Current status, UPI processed 640 million transactions a day. That is not important. Important is it has overtaken Visa. Visa कौन से country का US की है. 640 million transactions. And this is status. We are talking about status, right? Status means what? Status means that you have to give objective truth. जो आप Facebook में लिखते हो, status, you give sometimes objective truth, right? Status, like I think there is this column called status. चलो. Then e-commerce market crossed $147 billion in 2024. The moment you give this data-rich content in the very beginning, right? What impression you are creating with your examiner? Not only you have read, your content is good, you know how to present, but most importantly, you are meeting the demand of the question. ठीक है? And you know, people say, sir, like, how would I remember this thing? इतना content कहाँ से आएगा? And I think I told everybody. The answer lies here. It's not difficult to write in this manner. 3 months. The answer lies where? The moment this is done, this aspect is covered. Right? Yes.
Then digital economy is an aspect which is covered across various dimensions. But covering digital economy to this extent that we know the e-commerce business that closed business $1 billion, and then we exactly know that it covers, it contributes 11% of GDP. जितना स्पेसिफिक मतलब मैं अगर डिजिटल इकोनॉमी या कोई भी ऐसी चीज है तो ये एस्पेक्ट को कवर करने की कोशिश पूछना है, पर उसमें फिर कितने डायमेंशन तक अंदर जाना हर बहुत
नहीं होगा.
के पॉइंट्स में गिवे नहीं. सो डिजिटल इकोनॉमी इज दो मेंशन इन द सिलेबस.
It's not Indian economy, right?
से रिलेटेड कुछ जिला पॉइंट्स हो सकते हैं, जैसे कि यूजर्स हैं, स्मार्टफोन यूजर्स हैं, ये सारी चीजें, पर इतना डिटेल में जो डेटा है.
Okay, I'll repeat the question. So what Ayush is saying, कि we don't have digital economy in our syllabus. Short notes are based on what? Short notes are based on syllabus, the topics in the syllabus. We have Indian economy in the syllabus. How is it possible to make a content of digitalization of Indian economy? Is it possible? Of course not, it's not possible. Right? But what did I say? Your short notes has to be value added. Right? And value addition will take place through what? Current affairs, number 1. Second is discussions, feedback loop. Third is GD, group discussion. And I refuse to agree that when we are doing these things, and another value addition format is that you will be writing questions, right? Where this particular theme will be asked digitalization. I refuse to believe that this kind of things will not be covered. The moment we cover these things, short notes is what? Short notes is not just a permanent file. Short notes का मतलब पता है क्या है? I call it as a journey, an evolutionary process. This has to be continuously updated, your short notes. Right? And if you do this, if this aspect is done well with value addition from time to time, and this requires the diligence of an UPSC aspirant, you will not be even worried about, can I write in this manner? Trust me, you will be able to write in this manner.
जैसे एक क्वेश्चन था कि शॉर्ट नोट तो मैं डिजिटल इकोनॉमी पे नहीं बनाऊं, बट मैं डिजिटल एग्रीकल्चर में बनाऊंगा, एमएसएमई में बनाऊंगा, और सेक्टर में बनाऊंगा, तो मैं उस डेटा को तो इंक्लूड कर सकता हूं. मतलब ऐसे लोग अलग अलग जगह पे डिजिटल इकोनॉमी का एग्जांपल में डाल रहा हूं, उसको तो यहाँ पे अगर दिया
value addition. He's saying that, like, got it, right? So digital, like when we are covering, we will be covering NAM, we'll be covering your this क्या बोलते हैं, e-services, right? So there also, like, content will be there. Trust me. You have to know to determine the structure and presentation improve करना है. Clear? Shall we move on? ठीक है. अच्छा, यहाँ so we were talking about two things. We were talking about dimensions. So dimensions, you see, rise in cyber fraud case. What are the challenges? So the question had asked me, examine the problem. Problem means challenges, right? So I've given a short heading, and then rise in cyber fraud case. This is an argument, and validating this argument is an example. What? 36 lakh cyber fraud cases. There is, like, if you want to go even deep, 2023 से लेकर 2024, you had 206% rise. 206% rise. This is not my data, this is PIB's data. You can counter me, you cannot counter PIB. ठीक है? At least the one bastion of truth is PIB. Right? Like, वही है. Got it? Rise in cyber fraud cases and then this dimension. Similarly, rural-urban digital divide. It is also a challenge of, ये मानोगे? It's a challenge of digitalization of economy. Again, example, rural India 22% digitally capable. ठीक है? 22% digitally capable. Now, I think, I did not catch your name. Roshan. So Roshan, you will say, like, if I use this digitally capable and not explain this term, then probably I'm not communicating my like my argument to the examiner. Not necessary. The moment you write digitally capable, that examiner will know. मतलब क्या है? Lack of internet knowledge. ठीक है? Lack of transactionary knowledge, e-transactionary knowledge. So digitally capable का मतलब वही है. ठीक है? अच्छा. Now I was talking about कि your dimensions should not be ambiguous, right? I told कि your dimension should not be ambiguous. उसका मतलब क्या है? Now listen to this very carefully and this will like change your ethics का answer. Trust me, 99% of them they make this mistake. What is here? Challenges. Challenges means what? What are the synonyms of challenge? Problems, issues, negative. ठीक है? मतलब गंदा चल रहा है, ठीक है? प्रॉब्लम, what like, so your dimension should have that negative connotation. मतलब challenges only 12%. अभी I cannot say only 70%. Only 12%. Rise in cyber fraud. यहाँ पर क्या है? ये fraud. Again, it is explaining my challenge. Rural-urban digital divide. Again, it is explaining my challenge. कर रहा है ना? Is it directly linking to my challenges? Similarly, अच्छा ये तीन ही है, ठीक है? अच्छा, recommendation. So when I was talking about use your verbs, expand, empower, boost, scale up. These are the words. If you have the stock of these words, you will never have problem in writing short dimensions. So again, recommendations, expand broadband via national broadband mission, digitally empower MSMEs. So these are the recommendations, right? Boost cyber security framework. 3 to 4 words, your dimensions are done. And then what I'm doing, I'm validating with example. What are the examples? How many of you heard NCCC? NCCC? Certain, I think most of you have heard. Certain. NCCC? ठीक है. So, right. So basically is if your certain is rapid response, right? If an issue happens, example AIMS में issue हुआ था. Everybody remembers? Which was the first body to AIMS में क्या हुआ था? What happened? There was this data breach हुआ था, right? What happened? Immediately this particular body rushed in. ठीक है? But in case of NCC, so they monitors. It's kind of a JSOC. ठीक है? So it monitors whether India is being attacked or a particular ministry is being attacked. ठीक है? तो ये like its job is monitoring and certain का job is rapid response. Like if something has happened, it will respond immediately. ठीक है? Okay. चलो. Shall we move on to the next? Okay. Yes.
जो डेटा है उससे कोई पॉसिबिलिटी डालने तभी सही होगा. जैसे डेटा में आप बोले कि 36 है, कोई लिख देगा 48 है.
Okay, very good question. Very excellent question. Okay, so first couple of things. I'll show you where I have mentioned about PIB. कहाँ पर mention किया है? I think here or somewhere I have mentioned about PIB. अरे नीचे आ जा. Okay. So somewhere I have mentioned about TAB, but his question is this: that let's say that, mention है कहीं पर? अच्छा, हाँ, right. I have mentioned. His question is very good. He said that like if I'm writing 36 million, whatever it is, and somebody is writing 48 million, right? So like, how would examiner know? Now the thing is this: first of all, they have model answers. तो उनके पास तो वैसे data रहते हैं. You cannot dupe them. Second is, now they will be checking like hundreds of copies, right? They will be checking hundreds and thousands of copies. And ये जो data है ना, the data is so common that they will find in almost in all copies. So instead of, let's say that you are giving 640 million, you write, let's say 2000 million, ठीक है? Immediately your data integrity is compromised. ठीक है? So I always say कि don't give data, don't give examples. If you don't know, don't try to fool your examiner. Because the moment you give one data wrong and you misrepresent your content, one data wrong, you create this impression कि भाई उसका बाकी सब का भी वैसे, like I will have to verify. So I will the moment you take away impression ना, you write a half a page answer, वो भी ठीक है, like you will be getting like say 2.5. But the moment you take an impression out of your copy, then what happens? Through any format, like misutilizing data, giving bad presentation, not identifying, the moment you take out the impression, that half a mark will be reduced, 1 mark will be reduced. Just imagine that happens across 20 questions. 10 mark is gone. That's the difference between 80, 85 and 100. Right? वो नहीं करना है.
So suppose 640 million का 500 नहीं चलेगा. वही आता है.
640 million का 600, 600 to 650 ऐसे चलेगा, but 640, because अभी 640 million, अभी देखो ना कि transaction in a day, right? Probably in 500 million was 6 months, 7 months and a year ago. ठीक है? तो I would, हाँ. Do that. Greater than visa. ठीक है? मतलब data examples are sacrosanct. And अच्छा, another thing, what is the reason why we have to give such valid data? You are going to appear for an exam which is testing not your knowledge, your integrity, as I talked to you in the very first session. It tests your bureaucratic attitude. Now, what kind of bureaucratic attitude we will be communicating when we are misplacing data? नहीं देंगे, because like there will be many areas to give data. I have not given data in every dimensions. Because it's a third paper, I have tried to give data, but not in all dimensions I have given data. ठीक है, नहीं देंगे. ठीक है, चलो. Now coming to the most important part, and which people mistake as presentation, actually this is the visual element. ठीक है, and I think Shalu asked a question on maps. Right, कहाँ पर place, like where to place it. Okay. First is diagrams and maps. The cardinal rule is that we will not overuse it. ठीक है. If it's a 10 marker question, we'll try to limit our maps to 1, maximum, not 2, like if maximum it's 1, right? And we have to know where to use it and which areas and which subject we have to use it, right? And like for example, in case of India maps, where to place India maps, world maps, regional maps. I'll give you an example. So this is an example of world map. Just a second. The diagram is very rudimentary. Okay. What is the question? Let's read the question. Bring out the socio-economic effects of the introduction of the railways in different countries of the world. Simple question. 10 marker. Okay. Is there a possibility of giving a map? Absolutely. First of all, in history question, we will not miss an opportunity in giving a map. We have to give maps in history questions. Like we'll try to find some opportunities to give map. Right? And that's the reason I'm telling you. First paper is easier to complete. Why? In history, we have to give map. In geography, we can give map. The moment we give map, what did we say? We are communicating better. We are using less time. Because this diagram can be made in 35 seconds. Like you should be so well adept in making world diagrams that it has to be done in 35 seconds. कैसे करना है? There are many tutorials. You come to me, I'll show you. ठीक है, YouTube में tutorials है. You have to make this in 35 seconds. I made it in 35 seconds. If I can do it, I'm poor at drawing, so you can also do it. We don't have to be Michelangelo or Picasso. Just indicative diagram, right? Okay, so the question is bring out the socio-economic effects of the introduction of the railways in different countries of the world. I have not given an entire answer. Just wanted to show the map. कैसे map बनता है? Like what are the elements in the map? First, most important, you have to give this. You have to mention figure 1. Very important. Again, these are all classical format of answer writing. When if you are from because answer writing basically is a humanities area, right? And there are processes, there are laid down rules and regulations. When we are giving diagrams, we have to mention figure first, and what the figure is about. So this particular figure is about introduction of railways in different countries. We have to give this heading also, and you will see अरे इतना नहीं करना है, मतलब you probably will, in order to write this, you will take like 3 to 4 seconds. In order to write this, it will take 3 to 4 seconds. But the value that you are communicating to the examiner, is immense, right? First, so first is figure 1. Second is introduction of railways in the different. So you have to give the title. What is the third? Label it. Labeling is important. Very important. So if you are not labeling the areas of the diagram, and proper labeling should be there with arrows, then actually there is no point of giving diagrams, right? So in this case, what did I mention? I have mentioned which were the major railways, early railways, which was the first public transport or public railway to use coal. What will be your answer? First public transport or public railway to use coal. Or rather not coal, steam engine. In which country? Common sense क्या बोलता है? Huh? Yes. So it is from Stockton to Darlington. The first railway where steam engine was used, right? And everybody knows about us, Bombay Thane. ठीक है? Which year? 1853. ठीक है? Again, in history, when we are giving history, I think I told you, 3 things are very important: place, personality, and time. Right? Your history answer should have these 3 components. And now people will say, कि यारे, then what about like personality? अब Indus Valley civilization में personality कहाँ से ढूंढ के लाए? I said कि these are the elements. I'm not saying कि you have to incorporate, right? But most important, place, personality, and time. So date is important. Again, the question will be is, अगर 1853 से 1850 वहां पर तो like 10-20 डिग्री इधर उधर हो सकता है. Here तो like date is the most important. So if it's 1853, you have to write 1853. 1854 नहीं होगा, 1852 नहीं होगा. ठीक है? Which is the most famous railways? अगर देखो, yes. Why? It's the endoskeleton. It is the endoskeleton of Russia. And not only socio-economic endoskeleton, it is actually this particular Trans-Siberian railway. It's also a political endoskeleton, because the way it reaches out, if you read Russian novels, railways are a very famous character in their novel, right? Chalo. And obviously everybody knows about US transcontinental. So transcontinental connects which 2 coasts? Obviously are east and the west coast, the Atlantic and hence transcontinental, right? Okay, ठीक है? Clear? अच्छा, another thing, world map, full page, full width, not half width, full width. ठीक है? चलो.
Some questions like, if you have to show a particular part of India, you have to draw a complete map or
good question. वो इंडिया के मैप में आ रहा हूं अभी. ठीक है? So ठीक है, क्या हो गया? टाइम? अच्छा, बस हो गया, इट्स डन. ठीक है? explain the role of geographical factors towards the development of ancient ancient India. So this is UPSC question, right? So how do I do map? India ka map hai. It will be half width map, right? It will be half width map. And again, figure 1, title, Geography plus India. And then I show, label it properly, Western Ghats, Eastern Ghats, Coromandel Coast. So explain the role of geographical factors, right, towards development of ancient India. Ganga, Yamuna, Doab, Himalayas, Khyber, this Bolan Pass. Achha, another thing, when we are giving ancient India, our map should also show this section, right? Because obviously it was the Indian subcontinent was a part of it. So technically this map is not entirely correct because Bangladesh will also come, a degree of Myanmar will also come. Okay? And to your question, Anu, yes. So if a section of India is talked about, let's say that they're categorically talking about Western Ghats or Eastern Ghats, we'll just show Western Ghats and Eastern Ghats. No need to draw the upper part. Just show that region. Similarly, in case of world map, if let's say that only a section is needed, I will not give the entire world map. Just for example, this question, the Indo-Pacific is emerging as the new strategic and economic fulcrum of global geopolitics. This is the context. Discuss the factors driving the shift and analyze India's role in shaping the regional order. Right? Now, what is the primary focus here? Indo-Pacific, right? Indo-Pacific is the focus. So what do? I give a diagram, right? Figure 1, Indo-Pacific stretch. And here I write Jaishankar, the name of the minister, right? What he said. He said about the Indo-Pacific as per EAM, External Affairs Minister, S. Jaishankar, is a stretch from here to here. From east coast of Africa to the west coast of South America. Okay, South America and North America, right? So this part I will show. This is only this section. There is no need of drawing other section. Okay? Okay. Any question? No questions. Good. And finally, I think Shalu's question, placement. Placement is important in the sense, for example, in this case, right? In history case, we'll place it just after introduction. Just after introduction. And in case of world map, we will give an introduction and then we will place the particular diagram. Placement is also important. Placement is key, right? Okay. I think we are, so another thing is, we'll be using, for comparison, we'll be using tables. Okay, for this question, do you think, this is UPSC question, do you think BIMSTEC is a parallel organization like SAARC? What are the similarities and dissimilarities between the two? How are the Indian foreign policy objectives realized by forming this new organization? It's a lengthy question, and this is only 10 marker, by the way. Okay. So we start with BIMSTEC and SAARC. We mentioned similarities, 3 similarities, and then dissimilarities we mentioned in this format. What is how BIMSTEC and SAARC are different? So how they are different? So BIMSTEC focus on this Bay of Bengal region. SAARC has a broad South Asian agenda. Then sectoral heads, there are it's divided. BIMSTEC is divided into sectoral heads. I think 13 or 14 sectoral heads. And in case of SAARC, there is no sectoral head. It's a rotating division. Active in recent years, obviously, BIMSTEC Charter came in 2022. And who was the last country to sign BIMSTEC Charter? Nepal. Current affairs kya karo? Nepal signed the last, was the last signatory. And in case of SAARC, last SAARC summit happened in 2014. Right? It has been almost 11 years. And then finally, policy object. How are Indian foreign policy objectives realized by forming this new organization? Right? Just see the heading: India's foreign policy realization with BIMSTEC. Right? And there is no sentences. People who have grammar, there is no sentences over here. Neighborhood first plus act is policy integration. And this is not my statement, by the way. This is PIB का statement है. External Affairs Minister Jaishankar ji ki primary BIMSTEC, and this is most important because this came directly from the minister. Second is what? Alternative. Now this is something which is on a subterranean level. ये कोई minister नहीं बोलता है कि alternative to SAARC for regional cooperation excluding Pakistan. You will not find any minister saying this, but this is the truth, right? What is the third? Strategic maritime outreach under not Sagar vision. Now it will be Mahasagar. Wherever Sagar comes, it has to be replaced by what? It has to be replaced by Mahasagar. When was this particular initiative launched? Current affairs? No, Mahasagar. Sagar was in 2015. Mahasagar. Prime Minister's visit to Mauritius. There he launched Mahasagar. Sagar कब launch हुआ था? Same. Prime Minister's visit to Mauritius. There he launched Sagar. After 10 years, Mahasagar was launched. ठीक है? Now, do you think that BIMSTEC is a parallel organization like SAARC? How do I conclude? BIMSTEC is not a parallel body, but a strategic complement that allows India to deepen connectivity security in a fragmented Southeast Asia. Now you will say, sir, this is the question that they have asked initially. Why shouldn't I answer here? Because पूरा story बताकर ही तो आपको answer करना होगा ना. Again, IBC, Introduction, Body, Conclusion. The IBC का मतलब नहीं है कि like first question they have asked, I have to give that in the introduction. I have to tell the story first. Then I'll come. Do you think BIMSTEC? Because it's a question, affirmative question. Do you think? You can agree, you can disagree. We have to disagree because nowhere it has been. No minister has said कि it is a parallel body. No, it has been assumed. Go to Deccan Herald or Hindustan Times. There's this excellent article where they categorically say that BIMSTEC is not a parallel body. No minister will vouch, no MPs will, but a strategic complement. And what does it do? That allows India to deepen connectivity security. Why security? Why did I mention security? India is the leader in security pillar, BIMSTEC mein. In a fragmented Southeast Asia, one of the most fragmented area in the world. Even fragmented than West Asia. Can you imagine? West Asia, where conflict abounds. ठीक है, हर दूसरे दिन कुछ ना कुछ हो रहा है वहां पर. That is more integrated than Southeast Asia. That this shows like the level of backwardness of this particular region. ठीक है, चलो, we are done. एक जल्दी से like 5 minutes we'll do this exercise. 5 मिनट में, ठीक है. आप मुझे सिर्फ बता दो यहां पर कौन कौन सी इमेज. Your question. Estimate the contribution of Pallavas of Kanchi for the development of art and literature of South India. So what kind of infographic or what kind of maps or what kind of diagrams can we give here?
Tropical cancer के नीचे.
हाँ, मतलब something like this, and then we can show Pallavas. ठीक है. So don't have to give the entirety. Though the great Cholas are no more, yet their name is still remembered with great pride because of the highest achievements in the domain of art and architecture. So what do? We again show Cholas. We don't have to. But here what we do is that we mention what?
Some of the architectures.
Mention some of the architectures. Temple architecture. You can mention those architecture. We can also do one thing. We can also mention about this. Inscription. We can mention this. Okay. Last, what are aurora australis and aurora borealis? So, what kind of diagram should we give here?
Sun.
One. Huh?
Flares. Sun.
Okay.
Circles.
Showing earth and sun.
Now, please don't do one thing here. यहाँ पर ऐसे मत कीजिए. This and borealis. Don't give this diagram. You will not get marks. आपको कौन से diagram देना है? नीचे वाली डायग्राम, राइट? अरे दिस डायग्राम में ठीक है. अच्छा, लास्ट, discuss India as a secular state and compare with secular principles of the US Constitution. What infographic will we give here? Excellent. So we'll give table US. ठीक है? This is a bit challenging. I need you to say this. Discuss the geopolitical and geostrategic importance of Maldives for India with a focus on global trade and energy flows. Further, also discuss how this relationship affects India's maritime security and regional stability amidst international competition. So, what kind of diagrams? So we will. So here, this is what I need you to do. Like here, Maldives is not categorically shown. So SLOC, you have heard about this? Is a technical term. SLOC, right? You have heard about this term. So what we have to do is that when such kind of question comes, we have to show these choke points. So these are all choke points. These are all choke points, right? We have to show these choke points. The moment you do this, Indian Ocean region में, the moment we show choke points, the moment we show trade, यहाँ पर और एक काम कर सकते थे, क्या कर सकते थे? What we could have shown here, we could have shown with an arrow the percentage of trade, right? 60% or 70%, whatever it is. We could have shown the percentage of trade. We can again, from here, could have shown percentage of trade. These are the value addition I'm talking about. That our fight is what? Our fight is for this. Our fight is for this. Because I am expecting that you will be bringing your marks to this level with your content, your presentation structure. But value addition होगा 0.5 की across 79 questions.